Dead Rising 2, man, what a video game.
Oh, I bet you just get rock hard.
When I was in my younger years, this shit was the bomb. Going around the mall, picking up absolutely anything and just murdering zombies, that was pure dopamine for childhood Ashton.
I want to skateboard.
You could make dope-ass Wolverine gloves, you could make a lightsaber, you could make the classic spiked baseball bat. You would meet these randos online who would have millions of dollars and they'd just buy you anything you wanted. They'd get you like 50 Zombrex and you're set for the rest of your life. Now, should an 8 to an 11-year-old be playing this video game? I'll leave that discussion to the philosophers. But for Kid Ashton, it was an ethereal experience. But like all games we play, one day I put down the controller and turned off the Xbox 360 and never turned Dead Rising 2 on again. But more recently, I was browsing the Steam shop when I saw Dead Rising 2 on sale. It was only like $8 and I had great childhood memories, so let's try to relive those, right? And that's what I want this, what I'm gonna call series to be. 2010's nostalgia is gonna be games I played as a kid into my high school years and reevaluating how I feel about them. I wasn't really a conscious adult then, but now I am. Now I have my opinions on what is a good game, but I want to make sure this is as fair as possible, so I'm going to be putting these games through trials. There's going to be 4 trials in total, all worth 5 points, to get the final ranking out of 20. That way I break everything down in an easy to understand way for my brain to rate. Our first trial is going to be gameplay. What made this game so addicting to me as a kid? Are those addicting aspects still there? The next trial is game design. Is the game memorable? Are the characters well designed? Is the environment fun to explore? I know this is also a little weird, but soundtrack also fits into game design just to keep things simple. Our third trial is story. Does it keep you hooked? Is it a memorable story? And most of all, is it just well written? And our final category is nostalgia, which I understand sounds like a weird category, but it's going to be me taking off the nostalgia goggles. If Ashton played this in the modern day, would he enjoy it? The biggest question I'll answer within the nostalgia is this game just a disappointment, or does it really live up to my childhood memories? With all that being said, let's answer the hard-hitting questions. Are my childhood memories true? Did I have bad taste as a kid? And most of all, does Dead Rising 2 have gas, or is it just pure ass? Let's dive into that question.
Badass.
The gameplay was absolutely addicting to me as a kid. On Saturdays or Sundays, I just could not put down the controller when playing this game. And in the modern age, I will admit, that addicting nature is still there. Once you get past all the prologue and through the soap opera story that is this game,
Where are you gonna get it, Dad?
and you're light into Royal Flush Plaza, it becomes amazingly fun. That's where I think the gameplay is at its best, when you're first starting the game. You just run around and grab shit. You throw it at zombies. You kill zombies with cash registers. You kill zombies with toy guns. You run around and you put on different outfits you can find, and those outfits transfer over to cutscenes, so you get some good laughs while you're wearing your tighty-whities.
Dirtbag. Let the lady go.
This experience only becomes better when you get access to combo weapons. Combo weapons are just 2 weapons put together, a baseball bat and nails, for example. And it's really fun to use these weapons. So many of them are just wacky and fun to use. You can use Wolverine gloves, you can use lightsabers, you can use a Lego propeller head. There's so many options, and I love how creative the devs got, but that would be more for game design. The combo weapons are pretty simple to put together, but man, I must have been a fucking dumbass kid, because I could not for the life of me figure out what went with what. I needed those combo cards you got when you leveled up. But as an adult with, I was going to say intelligence, but basic intuition, it's really simple to find out what weapon goes with what, because the devs left them for you at the workshop. If you just use basic logic, you'll be able to put most of the weapons together. I also haven't mentioned multiplayer, which is without a doubt the best way to experience this game. Getting a good friend to play this with you is amazing. I have a friend who kinda, sorta will play with me. He'll play with me if I say I need content, but unfortunately I didn't have a person who would play this game with me all the way through. I bet you're probably saying, well, just play with randos. Well, Kid Ashton would play with randos all the time, and he would love it. He made some good friends on Dead Rising 2. Modern day Ashton has crippling social anxiety, so it makes it kind of hard for me to do, but you know, playing with randos I bet is also still an amazing time if you do it. But that kind of ends the positives when I'm talking about gameplay, and I would say there's more negatives. Starting with combo weapons, a lot of the combo weapons are cool, but it becomes very apparent which ones are just better. Not because they do more damage, but because some are just easier to control. If you miss, it becomes a pretty big deal. So at the end of the day, you're forced into weapons that are more controllable rather than weapons that are more fun for you to use. Dead Rising 2 also gives you these melee abilities, but none of them feel useful enough to really use, except for maybe one or two, and there's just so many, it becomes hard to remember what is what on the keyboard at the very least. Now, killing zombies takes a while to get boring, but it does get boring, and you want to experience more of the game. And once you leave killing zombies for the rest of it, you start to see the other game mechanics, which unfortunately aren't that great. See, there are two other major things that you do besides killing zombies in this game, if we're not talking about story. There's walking from point A to point B, back to point A, saving survivors, or fighting bosses.
Not magic. She's dead.
Now, killing zombies and saving survivors is maybe fun the first time you do it, but imagine needing to walk all the way across the mall and then all the way back 30 to 40 times. It gets old real fast, and Dead Rising 2 doesn't do itself any favors with this, because when you first start out, you might as well be my fucking grandpa with arthritis, cause goddamn, you're so slow. Come on, hurry it up. Now, as time goes on, you do get faster, but man, it sucks starting off. The survivors themselves are fine to escort. It's not like you need to be their babysitter, but it still does get a little annoying from time to time when they're just getting grabbed out of nowhere. And also sometimes Dead Rising 2 forces you to have slow survivors, which I don't know why. That doesn't make the game more fun. It just makes the game more annoying. But as I said, there's another thing you can do, which is fight bosses. And unfortunately, a lot of the bosses are just misses. See, bosses in Dead Rising 2 aren't bosses in Dark Souls. In Dark Souls, the boss fight is engaging. There's multiple moves that can be avoided, and you feel like it's all down to pure skill to beat a boss for most bosses. But Dead Rising 2, it's a war of endurance, because no matter how hard you try, you're gonna get hit. The dodge roll is too slow, your movement is too slow, and the enemies are too fast. You're gonna get hit. Dark Souls. Like, that does 2 damage. Some random bullshit ass hitbox thing is gonna get you. So you better have a lot of food on you, bucko, because if not, you're going all the way back to that 2-hour save because you forgot to save because you're an idiot. Are you serious? Are you serious? No. At a certain point, the best option is just to get the paddle chainsaw, which does the most amount of damage, and just try to get through bosses as fast as possible, which is a shame because I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for bosses that is really missed out in this game. To wrap up on gameplay before I give it a rating, of course this game has a lot of 2010s jank. It's a 2010s game, what'd you expect? This ranges from shitty driving, to movement just stopping from time to time for no reason, to things feeling like they're not controllable. Like I said, just 2010s jank. So for a final rating for gameplay, I'm gonna give Dead Rising 2 a 3 out of 5. It's really fun at first, and killing zombies takes a long time to get old, but eventually it does get old and it doesn't have anything else to supply it to go further. Game design is where Dead Rising 2 is at its best. I love Fortune City, and I love all the casinos and the bright lights that come with it. This was one of the main reasons I would just play it a lot as a kid. It's fun to explore them all. It's fun to explore Fortune City. Somehow this environment just meshes so well with the zombie apocalypse. The best example of this is leaving the Yucatan Casino and entering the Silver Strip, seeing all those zombies surrounded by lights. The impact is really cool, even in the modern day. To add on to the environment, a lot of the areas are really unique and again just fun to explore. It feels like all the casinos are trying to make fun of American casino culture in a way. The Yucatan is a really good example of this. It shows Americans' obsession with tikis and what they like to call tribal culture, finding it entertaining. You also find this kind of in Atlantica with that classical ideal, Poseidon or Neptune being right in the front of the casino as you walk in. I could talk a lot about the casinos and how much I love them, but I want this to be a shorter video, so we're gonna keep going. Another thing I love about Dead Rising 2 is just its general silliness. It has some pretty dark moments, but you could just be going through all these dark moments in your tidy whities with hearts on them. Also, the mall music in this game, oh man, it's perfection. This unironically probably has one of my favorite video game OSTs just to listen to. I don't know how they did it, but they mastered mall music. To add on to sound, how can you not love the corny ass badass theme that Chuck has?
I'm Chuck Greene. Look at that faint smile.
And talking about Chuck, let's just talk about his design, that badass American motocross man he is. Does he look like a Neanderthal in the modern day and age? Who's to say, but maybe we can agree that Xbox 360 graphics have not aged well on him. But I mean, he just fits that soap opera badass perfectly, and I love it. He's got the hair, he's got the jacket, he's got the tidy whities. What's not to love? Unfortunately, what's not super memorable are the bosses and other general NPCs. Some bosses have an interesting look, but as a whole, Slappy's the first person who comes to mind when I think of an interesting boss, but a lot of them just kind of fade into the background, and honestly, you're probably gonna forget them. Or at least that's what happened to me. But what isn't forgettable is how many fucking Playboy posters there are. Does Capcom have a sponsor with Playboy? Is there an inside joke that's happening here? Like, can someone please explain to me why there are so many Playboys? What is happening? Why did 8-year-old me have the permission to play this game? The last thing I'll say about game design is just how much I really love the craftables. They're all just so unique. The game devs put a lot of love to how they wanted the craftables to look. You want a Lego propeller head? Yeah, you can get that. You want a basic spiked baseball bat? Sure, pal, you can have it. You want a motorcycle with 2 chainsaws on each side? Yeah, that's cool. We'll put that in the game. It's just a lot of fun, in my opinion. So, as a whole, for game design, I'm gonna give Dead Rising a 4 out of 5. This is definitely my favorite part of the game. So I make no joke when I say this, but Dead Rising, and not just Dead Rising 2, every single Dead Rising game, this entire franchise is one big fucking soap opera. It has it all. It has the reoccurring characters. It has the plot that just doesn't make sense. It has the unresolved ending and the promise of more story to come. It has the melodrama. It even has the bad acting.
Gotta give me Zombrex, Chucky.
You know, if you like soap operas, this might be the game for you. The summary of the Dead Rising story is you're Chuck Greene, the biggest badass to ever exist. He's a motocross champion, he's a zombie killing expert, his wife died tragically to add to his badassery, and he has 3 emotions that all men have: sad, angry, and badass. He'll kill a man and then he'll say,
"Thanks for the coffee."
That's who we're dealing with here. And I'll be honest, I love this about Chuck Greene. It's probably my favorite part about his personality is how much they ramped up that badass nature of him. Most times after Chuck would say something, I would just burst out laughing, honestly. So back to the general story. You're in Fortune City, which is in a zombie outbreak right now, and you have 2 main objectives. 1, you need to get your daughter Zombrex, which keeps her alive and makes sure she doesn't turn into a zombie. And 2, you need to clear your name because you've been set up as the one who caused this outbreak. So basically you go down this Scooby-Doo ass murder mystery ass story trying to figure out the truth, and in the end you learned it was Big Pharma all along. Phenotrans to be more exact, the people who make Zombrex, and they're doing this to continue making Zombrex because they're gonna stop making Zombrex even though the most important people in the world need Zombrex. Probably just to drive their stock prices up, but you know, their plan is that they engineer the super zombie and then they're gonna cause outbreaks across America with this green gas that only they have the ability to make, which, how would they cover that up for that long? Ashton from the future here to let you know they make the super zombie to make more queens so they can make more Zombrex. But in Case West, which is the DLC, it's revealed that they do have a cure, and you know, this is and I mean, what if things get out of hand? What if, like, America collapses? If the military can't deal with it, do they have the resources to stop a huge outbreak? Won't this just cause zombie prices to fall because people are dying and no one can get them, and society is collapsing as a whole? And who don't put much thought into this story? Just be Chuck Greene. Kill zombies, be a badass. All you need to know is Big Pharma bad. That's it. Big Pharma bad. So Dead Rising 2 story is not that great. At best, it has meh moments, and at worst, it just drags to try to get through, you know? And again, it doesn't do itself any favors because it puts the story on a 72-hour timer. So basically, these missions happen throughout these 72 hours you're within the city. So what will happen is you'll play a story mission, but the next story mission won't happen in-game for another 7 or 8 hours, which can take like an hour and a half to do in-game. And what are you doing between story missions? As I said in gameplay, you're walking from point A to point B back to point A, saving survivors, or you're fighting unfun bosses. And this 72-hour system gets really bad on the last day because it feels like they ran out of content. There will be a period where there's like 6 hours left before the next case and you just have nothing to do. You just go and play strip poker the entire time because you've done everything. This is where like a skip button would come in handy where you can just wait out till the next case, and it's odd to me that they didn't do that. So with all that being said, I'm gonna give Dead Rising's story a 2 out of 5. Probably the worst part of Dead Rising as a whole. So now on to the nostalgia section. As I said, I loved this as a kid. It was probably my favorite zombies game, either meeting or right behind Call of Duty Zombies. And it's easy to see why this was one of my favorite games as a kid. It's silly, it's goofy, killing zombies is really fun. There are a lot of unique ways to kill zombies, and just being able to basically do whatever you want in this mall. And to follow that up, the atmosphere is really fun to get into. But it's important to know I never finished this game as a kid, and I know why. You know, a big reason is I would just constantly restart the game like I did with every game I played as a kid. Either I wouldn't find enough Zombrex, or there'd be a boss that was too hard that I couldn't beat. But I think the main reason I didn't beat it was because eventually I got bored. This game runs out of juice and it's hard to keep playing it. Dead Rising 2 is fun in the modern day and age, don't get me wrong, but also it drags on for way too long. The story isn't really engaging, and while killing zombies is fun, after you kill 2,000 to 3,000 zombies, you want to experience more than just doing that. If modern day Ash got this game, he would probably play for an hour, have fun, then honestly drop it, forget about it most likely. So if I take the nostalgia glasses off, overall I think this gets a 2.5 out of 5 in trying to recapture that magic I thought it had as a kid. So if we do all the calculations, Dead Rising 2 got an 11.5 out of 20, which is pretty accurate with how I feel about this game. I almost called this video Dead Rising 2 is a video game. It's just so meh. It has its fun moments, but overall, is it good? I don't think so. I think it's okay. It's not something I want to go through again. The story isn't good enough, the gameplay doesn't have enough innovation, and you can't rely on atmosphere for you to be called a good game. But I would still recommend this game if you like zombie games or if you played it as a kid. Just don't get Dead Rising 2. Get Dead Rising 2 off the record, because that's just Dead Rising 2 but made better. I mean, they fixed a lot of the gameplay issues I talked about. There's more weapons, and even down to small things like UI just look better. I don't know why they didn't make these fixes with original Dead Rising, but whatever. Go play as Frank West and say fantastic or some shit. I don't know, take pictures of people getting mauled alive. Also, play it through with a friend. I think it would be a lot better of an experience for you if you are playing this game with a friend. And finally, wait for a sale, because this game, this 14-year-old game, is nowhere near $20 in worth. Like $8 is a reasonable price for this game, so wait for a sale. But yeah, that will do it for my 2010s nostalgia video on Dead Rising 2. I'm going to be trying to do more of these short form videos as time goes on. Every 2 weeks, every Saturday at 11:30. I hope to get a new video out. So let me know if you like that format, or if you would rather me keep doing 20 to 40 minute videos every month. But I think being more consistent will just be better. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon.
Subscribe to Classic Ash.
My grandfather said this mummy is worth millions.